Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game rules by Chaosium. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to language for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include mature themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again in another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I'm your keeper, Keeper Michael, and we return to Season 6 of our Masks of Nyarlathotep campaign. We are traveling from Shanghai to Kenya, and I'd like to welcome you in as a listener, and especially welcome you in if you are a Patreon supporter. We greatly appreciate your financial support and the support you're showing us all over social media and in our Discord server. If you'd like to do something just like that for us, if you've not had the chance to check out what we offer, you can check it out at patreon.com/theoldwayspodcast, where you can also connect with the community and come talk to the cast and myself, ask us questions, find out more about your favorite characters. And so, with that out of the way, I'd like to introduce you to our cast tonight. To my right.
Hi, this is Tiffany, and I play Meave O'Shea, and I'm reading.
Don't threaten us with a good time. To Miss O'Shea's right.
This is Morgan. I play Lillian Lane, and I was sending telegrams and reading books and trying to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, trying and failing, Miss Lane. We know you're about to get in trouble, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the table.
This is Jake. I'm playing Jack Doyle, and I'm nervously awaiting my test results.
Certainly. To Jack's right.
This is Lonnie, and I'm playing Robert Drummond, and maybe I can read. I don't know. We'll find out tonight.
We will. Well, hopefully. To Mr. Drummond's right.
Hi, this is James, and I'll be playing Dr. Sigmund Attenbach. And Jack can be that box there. What is it? What 2 lines mean? What does that mean?
Damn it. I'm too young for this.
Not at all. This is a mature show. And to the doctors, right? As we always like to say, last but most certainly not least.
This is Alex playing Saint-Laurent, who's a firm believer that free time is a terrible thing to waste.
No doubt, no free time here we wasted with these characters. They have lots of things to do now that they've recovered. So I'm going to raise the curtain tonight. After 2 days of initial travel, all our characters have rested and relaxed and regained 4 hit points. And we're going to look in on Dr. Tottenbach as he checks in on his patient, Jack Doyle, who is recovering still from many, many wounds.
Well, everything seems to be, for the most part, the wounds seem to be healing. As usual, Jack. Your recovery rate is well documented at this point. It means that literally, Doc taps his journal. I've actually used you as a baseline for recovery in some of my experiments. Theoretical experiments. So, Jack, are there any other symptoms that you...
It's all the clean living.
Well, we were all cautious, clean living individuals, and I'm sure we'll see a ripe old age.
No, nothing new.
All right, well, let me see what my tests have revealed here. Keeper?
Yes, how can I help you, Doctor?
What has Doc... first of all, do I need to make a biology or a medicine roll on the blood samples that I have taken?
Certainly a biology roll.
All right, I will make a certain biology roll. That is an 06 under 82.
Oh, okay, so extreme success.
Yeah.
There is something here within the blood that seems a little strange.
Fishy?
No, actually. It reminds you slightly of the sample that you retrieved from, we'll call him the captain of the ship. There are some very similar toxicity markings between the two.
Okay. Can I conceivably, looking at the captain's blood, which is probably, I'm going to assume, which the doc does not like to do, but he's going to assume that the doc's blood would be the end game or the end result of whatever this toxicity is, and that Jack's blood is a semi-stage, and Doc will draw a little of his own blood in comparison, so that he has, it's not Jack's blood, but it should be healthy with quotes around it, blood, and to, for comparison, and see if he can figure out what this toxicity is, if it's a bioagent, and can he neutralize it. Doc was willing to spend many hours on this as necessary.
Jack, during this portion, this blood drawing that Sigmund is doing, you get that same sort of feeling in your stomach again, not the hunger for raw fish or the desire to go leap into the ocean and be amongst your people. Not that you've ever had that feeling, promise.
No.
You actually get this sort of sick to your stomach feeling. You feel the wound itself, the area you were wounded at with that harpoon, Jack, feels that same sort of, you feel that same weakness again in the flesh. It eventually makes you nauseous. It doesn't force anything out, but you feel sick to your stomach and a little physically weak.
Is there a way the Doc can draw any more of this out?
It would mean drawing more of Jack's blood out.
At this point, Jack, you're 20% to me anyways. What another few percent is going to matter, yeah?
Yeah.
So Doc takes from the area, perhaps with a similar mechanism to the suction devices that you use for drawing snake venom out.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a medicine roll, Doctor.
I would love to. 57 under 91.
Okay. You draw out more blood from him and work in a little bit more of your own, what you believe is clean blood. And after probably an hour, Jack, you begin to feel a little bit better. Unfortunately, Doctor, this does not make you feel better.
Not so much.
And what I mean by that is a medical position, right? Jack has been is taking in your blood, and he is feeling better.
Yeah.
And so that means whatever's inside of him is still actively working.
It's consumptive, and I have given it, this is a stopgap measure.
Yep.
Okay. Jack, this is, sorry, I'm a little woozy. This is only a temporary measure. We need to figure out what you've injected with here, and he points at the wound, and what is coursing through your body as we speak. For now, it seems as though the symptoms, what you're experiencing, in fact, are symptoms of some sort of, I'm going to say, biological contamination of some sort. Now, Jack, I'm going to tell you something that again, this is an assumption, okay? But you and I, again, transparency, my good friend, there is a good chance that this will cause some transformation if we do not figure out how to arrest it, which means that you, first of all, you have to report to me any physical changes, urges, fascinations even, that you suddenly develop. I have to know. Complete transparency, Jack, because I cannot help you if you do not tell me all of the symptoms when they are happening. Okay?
Okay.
All right. He stands up. Doc is, he doesn't stand up this time. He seems not beaten, but a little heavy-shouldered. Like he is extremely worried about Jack and Maeve and indeed pretty much everyone traveling with him slowly turning into something else or being filled with holes consistently. You know, Jack, family is never easy. You know, I learned that at a very young age, but this family is less easy than most. Because I don't want to say certain that I'm going to lose at least another one of you, but possibly more. This is not easy for me, Jack. I've grown quite fond of all of you.
I, for one, will do my best to not die or transfer into a half-human creature.
Well, do your best not to transform into a half-human creature, and I will do my best not to have to keep a fireplace poker near my bed at all times, just in case. Mm-hmm.
Yes, very good. I have all the confidence in the world in you.
All right, well, I will continue working feverishly on this, and as I said, Jack, anything that happens, you tell me, okay? Right away.
Okay, yes.
Doctor, you're likely going to probably want to talk to the ship's doctor about getting some sodium citrate.
Okay.
Because it would likely be in your best interest to maybe start a normal daily, perhaps, process of pulling out your own blood and using sodium citrate as a anticoagulant. So that way you can keep bagged blood around in case this needs to happen.
Very good. Yes. Doc definitely goes to the other doctor and begins, he explains that one of the party has some hemophilial tendencies and he needs regular transfusions.
Okay. Yeah, a fairly reasonable explanation between two members of the medical community. Dr. Fricker is more than willing to assist you with getting some sodium citrate and several jars and or bags for, actually they probably wouldn't be bags, they would be jars because plastics are not a thing. So yeah, these would be sterilized jars. Doc will get the jars and go down to the mess galley and make sure that he spearheads sterilizing them himself to make sure that they are specifically cleaned, medically cleaned as well as he can. Yeah, the doctor on ship here has a space where tools and jars, vials, etc. can be sterilized.
Wunderbar.
And once he knows and understands that you're a medical doctor, you're able to get a little bit more, we'll say, leniency when it comes to getting a hold of some things.
Wonderful. All right. He takes advantage of that and begins the science work of saving some of his own blood for Jack, as well as taking the samples. And again, he's now that the first wave of biology has rendered what it was going to, he's moving up to moving out to the more fringe areas of biology that the doc alone has started to discover, utilizing his own journal and perhaps even a book or two that Meave has.
Interesting. Perhaps some, we'll just say new era medicine.
New era medicine, yeah.
Sam, it's my understanding that you wanted to have a discussion with Jack while you were on board.
Yes, and the doctor, actually. It doesn't matter if they're together or not. But yeah.
They're not at this time. The doctor is seeing to some, we'll just say, some medicinal needs.
I love it.
But you'd be able to get a hold of Jack, who's probably got enough hit points to even sit up and eat lunch.
I will.
Very excited.
I will not come empty-handed. I will bring a tray with both beverage and bottle, since the doctor's out, so the patient can play. And I will bring 2 tumblers.
Okay, Jack, you are greeted by alcohol and Sam.
Hey, Sam.
How you feeling?
Well, I've had better days, but I can sit up.
Good. Want one of these?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I pour him a fat one, like not to the rim, but close.
The traditional Jack Doyle 4-fingered.
Right.
As for me, I'll kind of sit back. Well, if I'm honest, I don't know what to make of what's going on here. but things are getting scary out there. We won't know what to expect in Kenya's Save the Worst that I feel like is yet to come. I'm not desperate, but I feel like we're low on allies. Do you agree?
Yes, I do.
So I sense, look, something helped me get out of that mountain, and it wasn't just, my shoes. I believe Bast is trying to make contact, or at least entice me into doing so.
Okay.
When I met, do you remember the priestess that we met?
Mm-hmm.
Who was after that archaeologist? She taught me how to contact Bast. I just don't think I should do it alone. So I know that I know you have a Bast statue in your possession, and I'd like to have a proper representation of her image, but I don't want to ask you for it. I'd almost rather you remain its custodian, because I don't want to risk being tempted to make contact impulsively, if you understand.
Right. Yeah, I can do that, but I need to get a promise from you in exchange.
Anything.
So, ever since the Dark Mistress, I've been feeling very well. The doctor thinks I have some kind of blood poisoning. In fact, it might lead to me transforming into one of those fish creatures. I want you to make sure that doesn't happen. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, which is why we're going to do everything we can to fix you.
I have full confidence in the doctor that he can do so. But I just need you to make sure that you understand that if worse comes to worse, you'll take care of it.
I'd never let you suffer, Jack.
Thank you.
The indignity of of going through that. I would ask you as a man of war, how would you like to go?
I'd rather not see it coming.
I would tap his glass twice.
Gotcha.
The rituals details are interesting. I'll leave them here for you to look over while you recover.
All right.
And maybe, I don't want to push it, but maybe she can help us figure out what the hell's going on with you.
Oh, yeah, that would be, I'm not going to turn down help.
All right. Well, if you're in, then you let me know when you're feeling up to it.
Yeah.
Keep your, keep your lever steady. Do you know where the doctor ran off to?
I think he's doing some investigation into my blood.
Okay.
You hear a record needle scratch and the sound of German opera distantly from another room.
Just follow the music.
Got you. Bottle stays with you.
Thank you.
And don't worry, Jack. We'll fix you.
Okay. So Sam, you're going to go see the doctor?
Yeah. I will tap loud enough to be heard of the music, but I'll try not to jar his thought process.
Welcome.
Sigmund.
Guten Morgen, Sam.
You look busy and hard at work.
Doc has probably rings under his eyes now from short blood transfusions every day, as well as ink and papers all around him, a couple of books open.
Sam will, head over to the doctor and put a hand on his shoulder. Jack told me what he believes is happening. We have to fix him, Doctor.
I know. I am exhausting all of my resources, Sam.
I know you are, and I'm not coming to push you. I'm letting you know that I've talked to Jack, and I'm going to be contacting Bast, and Jack's going to go with me when he's feeling better. I'm going to see if we can get some help.
Yeah, thank you. I need every resource that I at my disposal, and some that I am preparing myself. And Doc smiles, kind of chuckles, and pats it. Pats the door, or pats the cabinet near him.
Speaking of the ritual scepters in your possession, I'd like to make an effort to master their use. I keep finding myself face to face with these masters of dark forces and could really benefit from them, I believe.
Oh, well, yeah. But I guarantee you that at this moment, I see no reason why you shouldn't have some. And that there's no reason why I should have some or be taking care of them, because I have no time or attention for them. None at all. Jack is my main concern, although it is not to say that the rest of you are not also a concern. I have patched up.
Do you really think he could turn into one of those things?
Doc is quiet for a moment. Doesn't look directly at Sam, because he knows that if he looks directly at Sam is canny enough to read what is on Doc's face, which in itself is kind of an answer. I'm a man of science, Sam. I try not to guess or assume. But from everything I have seen, we cannot strictly apply science to this, but it does seem like it could be a possibility if we do not do something to arrest it and cure it, purge his body of whatever this metaphysical poison is. Do you understand?
I do. I think it's in his blood. It's in his body.
It is in his blood. Yeah, and it was introduced, I believe, in his harpoon wound. And it's not killing him as a normal poison would. It seems to be that it was, in fact, it is changing him like the other ones. I suspect every man that we fought on the ship and all of the ones on the island that were fishermen, I imagine that at one point or another they were all probably like Jack. We need to figure out what it is, and we need to figure out how to stop it. And make no mistake, Sam, there are very few lengths that I will not go to save Jack's life. He has saved mine more than I can count now. And I will make this happen, Sam.
Well, just remember you don't have to work on it alone. So if you find yourself going to dark places, make sure you take someone with you.
I will. It is always easier with another set of eyes, yeah? And within reason, of course. Too many sets of eyes is, I have seen, not good.
Someone to keep you grounded, Doctor.
Thank you, yeah.
I'll leave you to it. I'll make sure you get some tea and stuff. Get some rest.
Yeah. Sam, can you perhaps bring me something to eat?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
I will leave the doctor to his work. I guess I start wandering around.
I'm going to dive over to the first class berth of one Maeve O'Shea, and I'm going to look in and see what she is up to. I'd like to know how she's preparing her space when it comes to researching such a, we'll say, historically dangerous tome.
Well, I am going to basically, and if I have to get help, I will move everything so that basically I have an open space around my desk and chair. Preferably somewhere that gets sun, and hang out with Slander, but pretty much have everything else out of the way. Mm-hmm. So that I basically have a pristine area and it's just me and my snake.
Okay. So I'll ask the question again that I know the answer to, which is, I know what you're going after inside this tome. Protection spells, as you mentioned last episode. But you also mentioned you were looking for potentially arcane workings which could end a fight fairly quickly, yes?
Correct.
I think the first takeaway from the book itself is how big it is. Physically speaking, it's a fairly large tome. It's a little dark brown, black. And the leather that exists on the front and the back of it is there's a texture to it. When you begin earnestly looking at it, you notice a couple of things. It's dated, which you did not expect. So the first few pages denote it seems to be dated around the early 1200s.
Okay, that's interesting.
There does appear to be several pages spent discussing the legend of someone who existed hundreds of years before. So you get the impression when you begin reading it that this is not an original version of this manuscript. That it is in some way some sort of translation or some sort of second edition.
Well, yeah, I would have felt like the scrolls that I looked at were more original, correct?
Likely, yes.
Okay.
But they were also enormous and impossible to carry around.
Right, but I'm just saying because I've looked at the scrolls, I would have, some kind of idea that, the scrolls would probably be closer to the original form than the book I have. Mine's just more convenient.
Exceedingly. To say that it's immense is an understatement. The tome itself is likely probably 4 to 5 inches high as it sits on the table. It's considerable. And as you dive in to the first few pages, it talks about it seems to be more of a personal journal, where there's an entry here about someone named Abdul al-Hazrad. He recounts himself as a philosopher, an astronomer, a poet, even a scientist. It appears anyway in this text, this person who's speaking about him, it talks about how he was devoured in broad daylight by what they believe is an invisible demon, and that the information contained within the tome is not to be read lightly, nor should it be read aloud. There is some concern here in the Latin pages about what uttering some of the phrases in this book might affect. What could happen to someone. And I think, for the moment, Miss O'Shea, I'll leave you there. Lillian, your telegrams go out. You know that it will likely be several days before you get a response. You meet a very nice gentleman, older, probably in his 50s. His name is Harold Buttleby. He is a trader and a distinguished gentleman from New York. And he has several of his overseas investments that he's going to be checking in on. You meet him over coffee. He's fairly forward, but he seems to be genuinely nice. The reason why you continue to talk to him over coffee is that he has some experience in Kenya, and you find it invaluable to be able to poke someone's brain about what might be going on.
And what do I learn from Mr. Buttleby?
You learn a couple of things. First and foremost, you learn that Harold is a widower, that he has one son who is in Los Angeles, and that his son is not very good with money. Sort of one of the first things you get. He seems to spend money as soon as Harold can make it. He's very interested in horse racing.
His son is?
Yes.
Well, I, discuss horse racing with Harold, and part of my family's business is raising racehorses and making money off of them. that we do fairly well.
He asks if you've been to Mombasa before.
I have not.
Well, you're in for a treat. You will be, as a woman of your station, you'll be afforded all of the luxuries that Kenya can offer.
And what kind of luxuries is that?
Well, your pick of the best hotels, the best food, truly any of the services that Kenya can offer will be at your fingertips.
Do you have any guides that you can recommend?
Oh, certainly. I know many within the city. Mombasa is not very big, but it is big enough that it can afford you a good guide, someone to speak the local language, and provided that you're spending money on those guides in the right section of town, one that will watch your back as well.
Do you know of any local cults in the area?
He looks at you a little weird. Cults?
Religious sects.
Oh. Shamans, chieftains, all sorts of rural type of thinking is available in Africa. You'll find it all over the place.
Have you met any shamans?
I met a man painted like one who claimed he was one.
Oh.
He said he could speak with my dead wife.
Oh.
Tempted to casually embezzle several $100 out of my pocket. It didn't work, though.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, it comes with the territory. I mean, these are very, they're mostly tradesmen, farmers.
Do you have any recommended places for me to visit while I'm there?
Absolutely. You should work your way on the train and head deeper in if you can.
Isn't that dangerous?
Oh. There are train guards. You'll be afforded every luxury the train like that can offer. And the Ugandan Railway goes directly to Nairobi.
Oh. I have never been.
You must. A truly wonderful experience. The ability to see Africa from the rails of a train. Lions, giraffes, all of the great apes.
Well, I surely must do that then.
Do you do any sport, perhaps?
As in shooting?
Of course.
Only people. I'm just kidding. I jest. I have not gone hunting in a long time.
Oh, well, Africa is a place where you could do some wonderful hunting there. Perhaps once we get to Mombasa, I'll assist you in putting a hunting party together. I'm certain that if you've got the time to experience that sort of a wonder and a luxury, perhaps rhinos, lions, all manner of creatures could be found and captured. Something for the wall back home.
Oh, of course. I mean, yeah, feel free to look me up.
Oh, very well. Thank you very much. He tips his hat to you and sort of turns and waddles on down the deck towards the outside spaces.
I'm sure my father would love big game hunting. Me, on the other hand.
So, Sam, you were going to talk to Mr. Drummond, I believe.
I think he had some words. He had some words for me.
Yeah, I would be hunting him up and
Ooh, I like this idea.
not finding him because he's off with everyone else first.
Certainly. But there's more than enough time for you to find in the first couple of days to find Sam.
Yeah, I'd probably stop by his cabin, knock on the door.
I assume it's a meaty hand.
Oh, yeah.
It's a meaty knock. Come in.
Hi, Miss O'Shea sent me over.
Oh. Well, that's an opener. Shut the door.
I shut the door.
Okay. Just sent you over? That sounds serious. I sit down.
Well, yeah, Miss O'Shea suggested that you had some books in your care that she had lent you.
Mm-hmm.
That she said I would find profitable to study, and also that I may want to do some studying with you.
Oh, so you're in for a penny. That's what I'm hearing. Like you really. I mean, granted, like I'm happy to help. Are you sure that's what you want?
Well, right now I'm not very useful until I, have some form of knowledge about what's going on.
Sure. No, I understand. The feelings of, I'll say, impotence that come with being ill-informed or unequipped are incomparable. So, yeah. Did you want to? I'll tell you what. You seem like a pretty practical fellow. You know where we're going, right?
We're going to Kenya. Yes.
So
that much I know.
I will dig through the material until I find a beat up green over paperboard 328-page busted looking book. So this tome, Africa's Dark Sex, speaks specifically to the cult of the bloody tongue that, while is generally assumed to be operating pretty deep in the interior, followers have been known to be in Mombasa, Nairobi, and even in Zanzibar. So this covers a lot of the regions in East Africa, including the Kenyan Crown Colony, German East Africa in particular, Belgian Congo. Okay. So I guess this would probably be the most directly helpful, since this is where we're going. So I would start here.
Okay.
The material in there is not, it's not what you're used to reading. So, you can read it alone. You can read it here. As far as studying with me, I can tell you right now, I have a few books that I'm going through specifically to pull some new tools out of.
If you don't mind.
Sure. No, that's fine. Some of this is going to require a bit more understanding of who you are, Mr. Drummond, because I know where I'm from and I know what my beliefs are built on. But to fuel a lot of the effects that transpire, the manifestations that happen, you've got to have something to lean on. And I don't know if you're a godly man, but the things that we're dealing with aren't written about in the Bible.
Well, there are things that I've seen that aren't exactly in the Bible either.
Same. So, but yeah, feel free to stay. I can help you kind of maybe figure out how to parse some of this stuff, break it apart, however you want to. I don't. You tell me, how can I help you? Because I have plenty of studying to do.
Oh, I want to know what we're doing, and I want tools to work with when we get there.
What we're doing is we're going to go face off with an unknown evil, which means that we are, no matter how hard we try, ill-prepared. But we do our best.
Mr. Drummond, you had posed a question to Miss O'Shea about what was actually going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if it actually got even answered.
I'm piecing together what she said with what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say it, but it sounds like he doesn't know anything. She hasn't told him everything either. So in the end, if I want that knowledge, I'm going to have to go back to her. It seems everybody's got little pieces of it, except for her. But at the moment, she's studying books in languages I don't read.
So if you think this book will help you get started, as far as what we're doing in Kenya, our plans are to survive whatever we have to deal with. You have to track down this missing patient, Carlisle.
So we're chasing someone or somebody?
Specifically, it's my understanding that we can't let whatever has happened to Carlisle in the past few years has likely led him into the schemes of Black Pharaoh, whatever you want to call them. They called them gods. They're monsters. These are the forces of evil, okay, that we're dealing with here. And if he's fallen in with them, we kind of continue to staunch the bleeding, if you will. Right? They have plans all over the world. So even though this book goes into the cult of the bloody tongue, the cult of the Black Pharaoh, and the people we just dealt with in China, they're all worshiping this same God with a million faces. it's not, he wears masks to deceive and lie, and none of us are safe from it. I am no exception. So
what makes Carlisle important?
if he's fallen in with this being and he's left care, then that means that we've been dealing with, their plans all over the place. And if this is another lever that gets pulled, if this is another, part of a plan with contingencies upon contingencies, then we keep stopping it until it's over or we're gone. Because that's really all we have now. We know too much.
Well, I guess I better get started reading then.
If you're just looking to be useful, there's some stuff in here that you can use. I can tell you that I know a few spells, some tools. Some of them are rather formulaic. Some of them are a bit more personal. I don't know what you're ready for, Mr. Drummond, but you can't afford to be unprepared. So
that's why I'm here. And not sitting in my cabin.
Well, you're going to be sitting in your cabin, but this time I guess you can be reading. So, feel free, if you want to stretch your legs, join me top deck. I'm going to be throwing some stuff around.
That's quite all right. I'll wait in my cabin. For some reason, the ocean makes me nervous right now.
You and me both. That's why I want to throw knives at it.
Okay. Anybody else got anything they want to cover?
In the first few days? No, I mean, well, I guess I would be scouting the cargo for, I'll say, exotic cargo in the serpentine variety. He's transporting some snakes.
Okay.
Don't get bit.
So why don't we have at least a stealth roll to get down there undetected? Because you're not going to be allowed into the ship's hold just because you want to go.
No, but I'm going to try to get in because I want to go. For sure. All right. That is a 10 under 95. So yeah.
Fairly easy for you to get into the hold. It only takes a couple of minutes to time up when the next person is going to try to get in. And then when they do, they leave the hatch open for you long enough to slip right in. And then once you're in, it's really fairly smooth. There's not a lot of friction between the different spaces in the hold. What it is really is just a lot of searching. There's a lot of depth here. And also the hold is really wide. It's wider than you would expect.
You're transporting all sorts of things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
One thing I will keep an eye out for while I'm in here is anything bearing any familiar shipping labels.
No.
So coming either to or from the Emporium, Hofang's Emporium, or anything from the place in London, the Foundation.
You mean the Penhue Foundation?
Penhue Foundation, yeah. Any of these labels ringing any bells, I'm definitely writing stuff down.
Yeah, so why don't you give me we'll say a track roll, because I think track is going to be pretty important if you're looking for the telltale signs of a snake.
Yeah, that's an 8 under 76. So I think that's an extreme.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
It does take you about an hour. It's likely that without the extreme roll, it probably would have taken you several more hours to locate.
So Tuesday, you'll find it, yeah.
Right. But you do track down a small crate that is amongst some of the other things in here. And there's no sign on it, per se. We'll say that it's about, it's as big as a small steam trunk.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no lettering on it, but there is a lot of detailed, there's a lot of detail outside of it that shows like pictures of snakes. And it looks like it's part of perhaps some sort of animal transportation that's being done.
Excellent. I will put on my gloves, my welding gloves, and I will inspect the goods.
Okay. So you begin in your inspection. The case itself is locked in a couple of different places.
Well, I will do what I can to relieve it of its of the pressure being closed.
Okay.
Via locksmith, if I may.
Yep. Go right ahead.
And that is a 27 under 69.
Nice. Takes a couple minutes to undo the 3 locks on this case. It's also really light. Like it's less than 5 pounds.
Well, then I will take a moment and I'm going to look inside.
Okay. You take a moment and you open it up.
I don't gently open it until I can see what's inside.
It's dark in there.
We have tools for that.
You shine a flashlight in there?
I don't shine a flashlight in there. That's rude. No, I will shine the flashlight kind of down at the ground and allow some of the ambient light to creep in.
There's something in there.
I'm sure there is.
It's definitely black.
Then I will slowly move the light so that I can get a better view.
You've seen a reptile like this before. It is sort of like a matte black. It's not very shiny. It is likely just viewable through the ambient light you have here. But in the space that you see it in, it is sort of curled up in one of the corners of this crate.
How big is it?
It's hard to say. It looks like it loops back in and on itself probably 3 or 4 times. It's probably a meter, give or take.
Is it alone?
No. There are 3 of them, it looks like, in here. They do not look happy.
I wouldn't be either. I've been in a box this whole time. So I will push the lid down and look about for, I'm pretty sure, I feel like a canvas bag would not be hard to find in the hold of a ship.
No, not at all.
So I grab 2. And
Okay.
I put one inside the other.
Okay.
And then I will stand in front of the box, kind of loosen up my hips a bit, take a couple practice lunges at the door, dance back and forth for a bit, and then kind of, and then I go for it.
Or you gonna reach in and grab one?
I'm going to open the lid, snatch a snake out of this thing, and shove it in the bag without getting bit.
You're gonna make a hard dex roll. That's what you're gonna do first.
Okay. All right. Here we go. That is a 21 under 75. So that's a hard success.
I'm going to play a hand of fate against you and I'm going to force you to reroll your 10s die.
No!
Yeah, you bet.
Thanks, Patreon.
It is a 5, which makes that so that makes this a 57.
Right.
Under 75, which is no longer a hard success.
Correct.
But I could spend luck.
You could.
Because I appreciate the hand of fate and all, and I understand that there is a tax that comes with success sometimes. This is not the time. There's one person poisoned on the ship is enough. So I'll be spending I need to get it down to a 37, 38.
Okay. Yeah, it would be 37 in a row.
So 20.
Mm-hmm.
Right, 20. I will spend 20 luck to fight through the hands of fate that want to poison my hands of Sam. No. So thanks for the luck. Bye luck.
Yep. You grab the snake. It immediately lashes back, but you can pull it out and then basically, what is in effect like roll the bag back over the snake.
I'm probably still hyperventilating as I tie the loops on canvas bag 1 and then 2 and then loop it around like 3 or 4 times before turning around and immediately making sure I lock the case.
You lock the case back up. You have found the snake. No is one of the components of what you need to do. The other part, though, you have to figure out how to build an altar.
Yeah.
Mr. Drummond, you dive into this book, this rather odd book, written by a gentleman who seems to have had a fair amount of experience in the African countries.
So fairly recent.
It's by a gentleman named Nigel Blackwell. It was written in 1920. Fairly recent, yes. It seems to catalog his travel across Africa. It's an odd mix, honestly, of a travel log and an expose of ritual practices by various societies in Africa, including the cults that live there. It's fairly obvious to you as an educated man that this was mostly a series of notes that got turned into a book. So it's likely crafted for sort of a specific purpose. But there are some rather frightening tales that he tells within this book. One grabs you fairly quickly over your time reading this piece. It tells of a ritual he watched take place in a portion of Kenya. He doesn't really go into detail exactly where he's at for fear of reprisal. But what he talks about is several people, perhaps 15, 20 of these cultists who are surrounding an enormous campfire that they've built.
Right.
With many, many sacrifices laid out. Animals, at least he thinks they're animals. And they do this oration, this praise to some deity from beyond. They march and they stomp in circles. And then they begin with these curved blades. They begin bringing people, outsiders, into this circle area. And they begin exacting a heavy toll in blood onto these people. These curved blades brought down in what he describes as vicious arcs against limb, rending life out onto the African grass. And he says, much to his horror, much to his mental state, a woman appears around that campfire. All of the people dancing back and forth in this circle. And suddenly there's this beautiful African woman. And she is coated in the blood and entrails of what these men have been exacting, what they have been pulling out of other people. It makes you sick to your stomach, Robert.
This is definitely not like a New England seance.
No, this is something far different, far darker. And I think that will be where I end this episode. And so in the coming weeks, we'll get a chance to see our investigators travel around. We'll take perhaps a little bit more of an intimate look at some of them. We'll give them some spotlight to play with, and we'll see what they have to offer. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Masks of Nyarlathotep. We greatly appreciate your listening ears. Thank you, and good night.